I sent I sent email to every field office of the FBI in the entire United States, because I was asking for information. I was being harassed by police. I had my license being falsely suspended, and I was being told that all these police officers knew about me. I knew I was defamed. I needed to get a hold of this information from the FBI to clear up any kind of defamation against me, because it was going to impact my life, and it did. So I was also trying to get assistance. I hoped that somebody in an FBI office somewhere in some state would look into it. I mean, it sounded weird, and I was very distressed at the time I was writing them, so by the time I was writing all these different field offices, I was under a lot of duress. It wasn't the best time to be writing all these different places. However, I needed help from somebody somewhere, and I just thought there has to be at least one decent FBI agent somewhere. I mean, the entire United States, and you can't find one. So this person from Cleveland CV that says, do we do anything with something like this, also made a note about Buhanda, that he was a special agent and a PD, Portland, part of the Portland Police Department. And when I sent this email, I described what kinds of sex offense were committed against me and what kind of burglary and break-in and entry was done, and how I needed to know how the FBI had categorized my complaint, because I had reported sex abuse and break-in entry, an unlawful entry into my house while I was incapacitated. And the FBI refused to give me anything about how they had characterized me. They just began to ruin my life instead. I wrote to, there was a copy of a letter that I wrote to Washington, D.C., which is their headquarters for the FBI. I sent it on December 22nd of 2006, which is before my son and I were then being brutally tortured with technology. And it says, Dear Madam or Sir, I am writing to request the FBI reopen an investigation. I believe it was closed regarding misconduct by FBI employees Raul Buhanda and Armando Garza. And then I write how I talked to somebody from a women's crisis organization, and she said it amounted, what happened, she first said that what happened to me constituted sex abuse 3. And then after I told her how much I'd had to drink and that I'd taken medication, she said it amounted to sex abuse 1 in the first, sex abuse in the first, which is a felony. I wrote, it says, I am instructed to request the FBI reopen this investigation and take new statements from me, as I believe I was misled in the questioning when I was interviewed earlier. The FBI had to have known legal definitions of crime and knew I did not. And I feel my answers were manipulated. I would like to make my report again. I would like to be contacted. They never contacted me. So then they have a couple of other emails that I sent one that was posted to C1.slc. That must be probably Salt Lake City. And it says forward to OPR. And then they crossed it out and put 115. That was done in January 13th, 2007. Then I have another email. And I have another email that was sent to Miami on the same day because, you know, I was sending this to every office. And it also talks about, I mentioned how Jared Garth and let's see, it says, one of the things that I wrote to them was that when I called the local police, because I tried to report this to the police instead of the FBI because I felt the FBI defamed me. So, alright. When I called the local police, this is the one to Salt Lake City, the sergeant in charge of detail for sexual assault told me he didn't want to step on the FBI's toes. He tried to say that what happened to me was a misdemeanor and not a felony. He said I didn't have forensic evidence to prove I was drunk or incapacitated. He hadn't even looked into the matter or asked these guys questions. He said based on my statements that I was fondled and it was sex abuse on a lower level, which is a misdemeanor. I said he didn't have forensic evidence of fondling, so I said that he either accepted all of my statements or a part of them, and he was purposefully trying to exclude my statement about being incapacitated, which made the incident a felony. He had not even investigated, so he says he'll call the FBI. He calls me back and says he talked to the SASAC Peters, who told him the FBI was, quote-unquote, handling the investigation, so he couldn't get involved. He then talked about the investigation in past tense as if it had already occurred and was closed. I asked him how the FBI could be handling things if the investigation was over. I was told to call ASAC Peters and that Peters would speak to me about it. I'm not sure who this Peters person was, but I went to school, high school, with a woman by the name of Alicia Peters, who is best friends with Robin Bechtold, who was one of the individuals who raped me, who date raped me. So if I'm now, you know, making a complaint about being assaulted by Raul Bujanda and Armando Garza, who Robin Bechtold didn't want me to report to the FBI, I would like to know if there's any connection between this person, this FBI person, Peters, and the Bechtold family. I also think that this other individual, Jared Garth, who was the one that I was told that I was talking to with the Portland PD, I believe that he was also involved in some way in trying to conceal what happened. The main agent in charge, Bob Jordan, told Garth to speak with me. And then Garth was very rude. He was beyond rude. He sent me, I was already requesting, I was requesting freedom of information, release of information at that point already. It had been like 2 years since I'd been making a request, or at least 1 year. And by this time it was January 13th of 2007. So then on January 15th of 2007, it says closed files. please index and serialize. And then that's from FBI New York. Thank you, OPC. And this is a cover sheet of what to close the file on the 15th, after I sent this same request, or the same email, to the New York field office on the 13th of January 2007. On January 16th, they closed another file when I sent another email to them on January 15th. But the same person asked that it be closed from New York. And the initials look like they're AR. And in this email on January 15th, I sent it to Jarrett Sharp. And the person who closed this has the initials AR. I sent this to, then the next one that I have is the same sort of email that I sent to Anchorage, Alaska, and there's a copy of that. However, I sent this email to every single field office in the entire United States, so where's the rest? Why doesn't, if this is what they can share with me, then where are my emails? I sent more than one email to every single field office. I'm not talking about just one field office in each state. I sent email to every single FBI field office in the entire United States of America. More than once. And all I'm getting is a couple of things back from a couple places. So what they do, like these other agents threw it away, or as I said, they have boxes and boxes of information from me, and they're only releasing a select amount. Basically, it's kind of like, I almost feel that they don't want anyone to understand the gravity of the situation and the kind of liability that the FBI has for what they've done to me and my son. I mean, it's not like nobody knew, or was being told by me what had happened prior to my being tortured, my son and I being tortured. So then the next thing is something that says, on February 15th of 2006, which is going back a year, it says, this is in response to your Freedom of Information Act Privacy Act request received by this office. It is my understanding you have filed a similar request with the New York field office. Like all FOIA requests, I have referred your request to the Portland FBI field office, to the Portland FBI field office, to FBI headquarters for processing. That was done by Robert J. Jordan, the special agent in charge, and then underneath that it says by Jared J. Garth, the chief division counsel. This letter was sent to me February 15th of 2006. That is long after I first sent them. I got this letter from them after sending them about 5 letters requesting these records. So the responses that they have not sent me is all the information that the FBI did not include in this packet is all of the letters I got from Jared Garth prior to this one that said